Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. It is Julie here with your TipRanks pre-market morning update, where we're bringing you everything you need to know before the market opens. So let's get into it. Alright guys, welcome back. Thank you all so much for being here and TGI Friday. Of course, this morning we'll be taking a look at some exciting stock market news, mostly notable earnings reports, including some of the big tech highlights from last night, and we'll see which stocks are the morning's biggest gainers and losers. Head over to TipRanks TV to catch the latest episode of Analyze This, where I have the opportunity of chatting with five-star analyst Mark Palmer. He covers digital assets, and we chat about everything from Coinbase versus the SEC to the crypto winter and Ethereum. Now let's get right into this morning's exciting stock market news. U.S. stock futures are in the green this morning following the positive tech earnings last night. Currently, Dow futures are up 0.2%, S&P 500 futures up 0.66%, and NASDAQ futures up 1.02%. The tech earnings have also had a positive effect on the crypto world as Bitcoin has continued to rise. Bitcoin is now above the $24,000 price point, rising 15% since the start of this week. The SEC has separately charged JP Morgan, UBS Financial, and TradeStation for their deficiencies in protecting customers from identity theft. According to the SEC's orders from the years 2017 to 2019, the firm's identity theft prevention programs did not include reasonable policies and procedures to identify relevant red flags of identity theft in connection with customer accounts or to incorporate those red flags into their programs. And that's all I have for exciting stock market news so far this morning. So we're going to dive right into notable earnings reports. With it being Friday, the after hours is quiet this afternoon, and in the morning we'll be hearing from companies like AbbVie, Colgate-Palmolive, AstraZeneca, and Phillips 66. Already in the pre-market this morning, we've heard from Chevron. Their stock is up after an earnings beat and an increase to their share repurchase program. Chevron reported second quarter earnings of $5.82 per share, higher than the $5.08 expected by analysts. This was on revenue of $68.76 billion, easily beating the estimates of $58.66 billion. The company said they're now also increasing the top end of their buyback guidance range, and the annual estimate now stands at $5 to $15 billion. Analysts currently rate the Chevron stock a moderate buy with an average upside of over 18%. We also heard from Exxon Mobile, who's also on the rise this morning as the company surpassed their previous quarterly profit record. Shattering their previous 2012 record of $15.9 billion, Exxon posted net income of $17.9 billion for their Q2, well ahead of the analyst expectations of $15.2 billion. They had profits of $4.21 per share, also exceeding analyst expectations of $3.76 per share. Their CEO said in a statement that earnings and cash flow benefited from increased production, higher realizations, and tighter cost control. Their stock is currently rated a strong buy with an average upside of 16%. And we also heard from Proctor Gamble. Their stock is down slightly this morning after they missed earnings by 1 cent, but more importantly, their annual forecast did fall short of expectations. The company reported earnings of $1.21 per share and sales of $19.5 billion, ahead of the expectations of $19.4 billion. However, for their full year, they're expecting their earnings for fiscal 2023 to be flat to up about 4%. The Procter & Gamble stock is currently rated a moderate buy with an average upside of 5.5%. Now, moving over to some of the highlights from last night, which included tech giants that dominated the headlines. One of those being Apple, who came out with results well ahead of analyst expectations. Despite concerns about supply chain issues, Apple said that they've not seen a slowdown in demand for their iPhones. They posted sales of $83 billion and profits of $1.20 per share, both beating the analyst expectations. Their CFO said that Apple expects revenue in the September quarter to accelerate from the June quarter, despite 600 basis points of foreign exchange headwinds. The Apple stock is currently rated a moderate buy with an average upside of 14%. And soaring in the pre-market this morning from better than expected earnings is Amazon. They saw sales increase 7% to $121.2 billion, which was above the high end of the company's guidance range. On a GAAP basis, the company did lose $2 billion in the quarter, or 20 cents per share, including a $3.9 billion non-operating expense related to their stake in EV company Rivian Automotive, though it seems the market was anticipating that. For their third quarter, they're projecting sales between $125 and $130 billion, which at the midpoint is slightly above the Wall Street consensus. Analysts rate the Amazon stock a strong buy with an average upside of 41%. Plunging in the pre-market this morning is streaming company Roku. They warned investors of a slowdown in advertising and consumer spending. They reported a second quarter net loss of 82 cents per share, wider than the analyst expected loss of 71 cents, on revenue of $764.4 million, short of the expected $804 million. In a letter to shareholders, they said that in Q2, there was a significant slowdown in TV advertising spend due to the macroeconomic environment, which pressured our platform revenue growth. Consumers began to moderate discretionary spend, and advertisers significantly curtailed spend in the ad scatter market. Their stock is currently rated a moderate buy with an average upside of 34%. And one other stock dropping on disappointing Q2 results is Intel. Their earnings per share came in at 29 cents, which indicated a decline of 79% year over year and widely missed the analyst consensus of 69 cents. They reported quarterly revenues of $15.3 billion, down 17% year over year, and also missing the estimates of $17.9 billion. They also issued disappointing future guidance. For the third quarter, they're expecting revenues between $15 to $16 billion and earnings per share of 35 cents. The consensus estimate was $18.62 billion and 87 cents in earnings per share. The Intel stock is currently rated a hold by analysts with an average upside of 4%. Now let's take a look at which stocks are the morning's biggest gainers and losers. Though Amazon did hold the biggest gainers position for a bit this morning, they have been bumped out. Now our biggest gainer is held by Sarepta Therapeutics after it was announced they'd be submitting an accelerated application for their BLA, one of their licenses, for a gene therapy. Under the ticker CRPT, their stock is now up 18.7%. They're followed by Five9 under the ticker FIVN, up 11.8%, and Amazon under the ticker AMZN, now up just over 11%. Our biggest losers this morning are led by Roku following their disappointing results last night. Under the ticker ROKU, they're down 21.5%. They're followed by AMTD Digital under the ticker HKD, down over 14%, and Dexcom under the ticker DXCM, down over 12%. So that is everything for Friday's pre-market morning update, getting you up to speed with what you need to know before that opening bell. Don't forget to stop by TipRanks TV to catch our latest interview with Mark Palmer covering the world of digital assets. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you back here on Monday.